It's 8 p.m. in Banda Aceh, Indonesia. CBN News goes undercover with the Sharia police, known locally as the Vice and Virtue Patrol, as they begin their evening rounds. It doesn't take long to spot the first target, a man and woman alone in the dark. The Sharia police scold the couple for being seen together in the dark, but release them after learning that the man is a military officer. The soldier is given special favor, but another couple is detained longer. The female is taken aside and reprimanded for not wearing a jilbab or headdress. The woman explains she's unaware of the law because she is not from Aceh. The Sharia police say visitors to Aceh must abide by Aceh laws. Scenes like this are now part of the daily life here. Sharia, or Islamic law, is part of the Special Autonomy Agreement that ended the long separatist insurgency in Aceh. While Indonesia is a Muslim country, Aceh is the only Indonesian province allowed to apply Sharia. Among the Sharia regulations enforced by the Sharia police are bans against the consumption and sale of alcoholic beverages, gambling, and illicit relations between men and women. Even married couples can be prosecuted for holding hands in public. Public flogging is the punishment given to anyone found guilty. While human rights groups say such punishment is unjust, Muslim Ibrahim, chairman of the Sharia Regulatory Board, says flogging is more humane than imprisonment.
When a person is imprisoned, he is separated from his family for a long time, and this can cause more problems. With public flogging, he or she can get 9 to 20 whips. It is not really the pain, but the shame that the offender needs to face. The shame will be so hard to bear that this will stop them from doing the offense again.
Dari Jakarta ya?
Iya.
Di sini di Aceh ini kan berlaku syariat Islam.
Oh iya.
Ya, jadi tugas kami itu menegakkan syariat. Kalau abang ini emang dari Aceh kan?
Iya.
Jadi kalau berdua-dua seperti ini, itu tolong dijaga. Namanya
Sharia law was introduced in 2001, but since the tsunami, it's been far more rigorously enforced.
Jadi berkumpul-kumpul laki-laki sama perempuan, tolong dihormati adat istiadat ini Islam, syariat Islam, hukum Islam.
These young women are deemed to be wearing trousers that are too tight and too revealing.
If we find youngsters, boys and girls, sitting close to each other breaking Sharia law, even though we've been educating and informing people about how to behave for the past few years, we'll arrest them. That's to teach them a lesson.
Tolong hormati syariat. Tulisan, adanya mbak jambu-jambunya, mana mandung jambu, masing-masing jambunya mesti berdumbu jambu, nah tulisannya berdua, hormatilah syariat.
Sebenarnya kan dari tamampo, bak pintu gerbang kan nggak pamplek apa ya.
Oh dia je, wate kena untuk kalau je bang, kedua-dua. Nanti wate kamu tegur runja, ujung-ujung nanti kan nak kena orang cibat.
Mana? Lun yang
salah saboji.
Memang hukuman sudah diatur. Apabila ada.
With regard to punishment, it has been laid down in religious law. If somebody breaks religious law, they'll be caned. The maximum punishment is to be caned 7 times.
Now there's even a proposal to punish adultery by stoning.
Jaga jaraknya. Terus nanti udah menjelang-jelang udah 5:30 diantar adiknya. Adik ya, belum nikah kan? Yang lama-lama bawa anak orang tidak. Mau malam pulang terus ya. Tangannya dijaga, badannya dijaga, ya. Makasih.
Memang setelah tsunami, memang kita semakin perketat.
After the tsunami, implementation of Islamic Sharia became much stricter. Although the tsunami was a test from God, Allah, it was a punishment for those who had broken Islamic law as it has been laid down in the Quran and the Hadith.
It's Friday noon, time for the most important prayers of the week at mosques around the Indonesian city of Banda Aceh. Besides the call to prayer, you can hear another sound on the streets, the loudspeaker from the Sharia police patrol. Shops and restaurants are supposed to be closed during prayers, but these Sharia officers are tipped off by the motorbikes parked out front the seemingly shuttered entrances, and they break up the clandestine lunch plans of this roomful of men. Alongside a secular legal system, Aceh enforces an official policy of Sharia. While most offenses draw only a scolding from police, there is a court system to try more serious cases, with public caning the ultimate punishment. Rita Sari Pujastudi is the chief of Banda Aceh's Sharia police.
The most common infractions we find are un-Islamic behavior, like not wearing proper clothing. Next is being alone with someone who is not your spouse, particularly in quiet places. And then gambling. We also find a lot of alcoholic drinks. We also get reports from citizens telling us whenever a Sharia violation happens in a given neighborhood.
Sitting at the northernmost tip of Indonesia, Aceh is nicknamed the veranda of Mecca. Islam first came to the country through here. Aceh fought a 3-decade war for independence from the rest of Indonesia. It didn't win, but was given special autonomy that included Sharia. So far, Aceh is the only province in Indonesia to be given this special right. At the Islamic University, young students debate the laws amongst themselves.
People view Sharia as something extreme, but I think Sharia is there to establish boundaries, not to imprison us.
I don't agree that everything should be regulated. I think it is us who should regulate ourselves, not the government who establishes what we can or can't do.
The restrictions on young people are significant because Sharia prohibits the close interactions of unmarried people. Banda Aceh's only cinema was shut down, and the music scene has been censored, with some of the city's famous punks themselves convicted of Sharia violations. Young people can still go to the beach, but it closes at dark to avoid improper behavior, causing traffic jams at the gate. Billboards sponsored by the city remind citizens that unmarried couples cannot be alone together. This young couple knows they are breaking the law, but they have nowhere else to go and are willing to take the risk. Other youth have taken a cat-and-mouse approach, like these young women who are wearing law-breaking, though stylish, pencil pants.
We just have to be careful. If we see the Sharia police, we run.
Of course we won't just stand there and get arrested. I could never bear the shame.
But beyond these lifestyle infringements lurk more serious human rights concerns, as Aceh's interpretation of Sharia broadens.
By giving the Sharia to Aceh, the Indonesian basically opened the Pandora box.
Andreas Harsono is with Human Rights Watch.
There are two groups that are actually threatened by this formalization of the Sharia. The first group is religious minorities. More than 20 churches are closed down in Aceh over the last 2 years. They also banned 14 Islamic religious sects, like the Ahmadiyya, the Shia. We did not expect that. The second victim is women. There are various strange regulations being produced. For instance, banning women from straddling motorcycle. In some areas, women cannot wear pants to go to work or to go to school, which means that it will restrict their mobilities. Ultimately, it will affect their economic rights. Ultimately, it will affect their education.
We were given special access to follow the Sharia police on their daily rounds.
We often come to parks like this because we can see people dating or not wearing Muslim dress. We try to give them guidance on the scene, but if the violation is more serious, we will bring it to the office.
We noticed women being targeted a lot more than men. These store clerks were chased because their uniforms were immodest. So was this mom for not wearing a headscarf. And this troubling scene, the berating of a young woman in the parking lot after being caught having an affectionate outing with her boyfriend.
You will bring shame to your village. Do you understand?
When a man violates Sharia, people see it as a misdemeanor. But when it's a woman, she's automatically seen as a sinner who has no place in society.
Azriana Manalu is a lawyer advocating for women facing serious Sharia violations. She says accusations of adultery are particularly traumatizing for women, but even simpler charges can ruin lives. In 2010, 2 young women were caned because they were caught selling rice during Ramadan. After their public punishment, Manalu says, they fled their homes for good.
The worst kind of punishment for women is the social stigma, even excommunication they receive from their communities. The caning hurts them for only 1 or 2 days, but the condemnation is something they will face for the rest of their lives.
Manalu also fears that communal tensions are rising as neighbors turn each other in.
I don't think Sharia is what people need right now. What we need is for victims of past conflict to live peacefully. We also need to put an end to corruption. These things should be taken seriously by the government, not this priority on Sharia enforcement.